Sometimes a person becomes so helpless that they feel they have no choice but to commit a crime. While there may be reasons before the crime, after it, the person often reflects and realizes they should have chosen another path. Today's story is one of those incidents that raised questions about law and justice systems. Before we move further into the story, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. Today, we will discuss the Deepika Chauhan case. This story begins in Gurgaon, a well-known city in Haryana. There is a society called Unsolved Valley View. The year was 2018, and in Tower 3, Flat No, 804 on the 8th floor, a small family resided. The family consisted of Vikram Chauhan, his wife Deepika Chauhan, and their 2 children, a 4-year-old daughter and a 6-month-old son. Vikram worked at a reputed company, and Deepika was employed at a bank. Everything seemed fine until the day of October 27, 2018. It was Karvachauth, a festival where wives fast for the long life of their husbands. Deepika had also kept a fast for Vikram. Around 9:30 p.m., she told Vikram that she was going to the balcony to see the moon so she could perform the Karvachauth rituals. At that time, Vikram was in the bedroom spending time with their children. A few minutes later, a loud sound came from the ground floor, as if something heavy had fallen. Hearing this, the watchman, security guards, and some nearby people rushed to the spot. To their shock, they found a woman lying on the ground. Upon closer inspection, they realized it was Deepika, who lived on the 8th floor. Deepika's younger brother, Himanshu Ahuja, also lived in the same society. Someone informed him about the incident, and he rushed to the spot. With the help of some neighbors, he immediately took Deepika to the hospital. Meanwhile, the security guard noticed that Vikram was not present. Curious, the guard went to Vikram's flat and informed him about Deepika's fall. Upon hearing this, Vikram was shocked and rushed to the hospital. Unfortunately, by the time he reached, Deepika had passed away. The news devastated the family. Vikram was inconsolable, especially worrying about how he would care for their 2 small children. Since it was considered an accident case, the hospital staff informed the police. The police arrived shortly after and began questioning Vikram about what had happened. He told them that Deepika had gone to the balcony to perform the Karvachauth rituals, and shortly after, he heard the loud sound. The security guard later informed him about the fall. The police noticed some injuries on Vikram's hand, including a bandage. When asked, Vikram said it was a small accident. He also mentioned that Deepika had been behaving withdrawn for several months and seemed depressed, which might have led her to jump. The police then visited the flat to investigate. In the balcony, they found some broken flower pots, suggesting Deepika might have climbed over them to jump. During their inquiries, the society residents revealed that the couple often fought, and Vikram had physically assaulted Deepika several times. These statements raised suspicions about Vikram's involvement. Around 3:30 am, Deepika's father, Herr Krishna Ahuja, arrived at the hospital. He had no idea what had happened until he received a call from his son, informing him that Deepika was in the hospital. On the morning of October 28th, Herr Krishna filed a complaint against Vikram at the DLF Phase 1 police station, alleging that Vikram had pushed his daughter from the building. He mentioned that their relationship had been strained for the past 6 months, with frequent arguments. The police took this accusation seriously and took Vikram into custody for questioning. They also confiscated both Vikram and Deepika's mobile phones for investigation. The police conducted a thorough inquiry, questioning society members, investigating the couple's background, and speaking to their families. They sought to uncover any hidden disputes, enmity, or other motives that might explain the incident. Vikram got married through an arranged marriage. Both families were very happy with the union. In 2015, Vikram and his wife, Deepika, planned to buy their own house as their family was growing. They needed more space after getting married. At the same time, another couple, Shefali Tiwari and her husband, Kunal Tiwari, lived in Ansel Valley Society. Shefali was a journalist and worked as a freelancer, providing services to various news agencies. Her husband, Kunal, was a businessman. Unlike Vikram and Deepika, Shefali and Kunal had a love marriage. They had been in love since college. The Tiwaris owned 2 apartments in the society, one they lived in, and the other was vacant. They wanted to sell the vacant apartment. Meanwhile, the Chauhan couple, Vikram and Deepika, were searching for a flat and bought the Tawaras apartment in 2015. Vikram and Deepika moved into the flat and, in 2018, were blessed with a son. Tragically, when their son was only 6 months old, Deepika died after falling from the building. The police began questioning Vikram, suspecting foul play, but he denied any involvement in his wife's death. During the investigation, a woman from a neighboring building came forward. Her flat was directly opposite Vikram's flat, and she lived on the same 8th floor. This woman, Lena, told the police that on October 27th, around 9:30 p.m., she saw Vikram and Deepika in the balcony with another man named Amit Chauhan, who was Vikram's brother. Amit frequently visited the society, so Lena recognized him. According to Lena, she saw Vikram and Amit push Deepika off the balcony. Lena called her husband, Sherndra, who also witnessed the incident. Thus, Lena and Sherndra became key eyewitnesses. Despite this testimony, Vikram continued to deny the allegations, arguing that he had no reason to kill his wife, especially since they had 2 young children. The police investigated the couple's phones and recreated the crime scene on October 29th to determine whether Deepika jumped or was pushed. They found nothing unusual in the balcony apart from some broken flower pots. The balcony's height made it unlikely that Deepika could have jumped easily without climbing onto the pots. Moreover, the broken pots suggested she might have climbed them, but if she had jumped, her feet should have been injured or muddy. However, no such evidence was found. Interestingly, on the night of the incident, Vikram had injuries on his hands, and one hand was bandaged. This raised suspicions that he might have been scratched during a struggle with Deepika. Meanwhile, Deepika's brother revealed that on October 24th, Vikram, Deepika, and their children had gone to Nainital for a trip. Deepika fell ill during the trip, forcing them to return to Gurgaon on October 26th. Deepika's brother, who lived in the same society on rent, frequently visited his sister's house for meals. On October 27th, he hadn't spoken to her, but called her around 9:27 p.m. Deepika declined the call and sent a text asking him to arrange dinner elsewhere that night. The murder occurred shortly after, around 9:30 p.m. The post-mortem report, released on October 29th, revealed strangulation marks on Deepika's neck and skin traces under her nails, indicating a struggle. Her feet showed no signs of injury or mud, further disproving the possibility of a fall. The investigation also uncovered emails and messages between Vikram and Shefali Tiwari, who had sold the flat to him. Shefali had been helping Vikram settle in, and they grew close over time. Despite being married, they developed a romantic relationship. Vikram, who often came home early, began meeting Shefali at his house while Deepika was out. Neighbors noticed their frequent meetings, and rumors spread. Shefali's husband confronted her, but she claimed Vikram was just a friend. Similarly, Deepika questioned Vikram, who also dismissed their relationship as mere friendship. Their affair began in November 2017 and intensified over time. In April 2018, Vikram and Shefali went on a 5-day trip to Ladakh, as revealed by emails and messages discovered during the investigation. A husband and wife went on a trip together. During the trip, they discussed that they should get married. However, both were already married to other partners. They decided to divorce their respective spouses and marry each other. After returning home from the trip, Shefali spoke to her husband, Kunal, and confessed everything, including her love for Vikram. Surprisingly, Kunal was not shocked, as he already had an idea about the situation. He agreed to give her a divorce. Meanwhile, Vikram also talked to his wife, Deepika, and revealed that he was in love with Shefali and wanted to marry her. He told Deepika that she would need to give him a divorce. Hearing this, Deepika felt as though her world had fallen apart. She tried to reason with Vikram, reminding him about their 2 children and the responsibilities they shared. However, Vikram was adamant. He only wanted a divorce. Deepika approached Vikram's parents and informed them about the situation. They visited Vikram's flat and tried to convince him that he was making a mistake and should focus on his family. Despite their efforts, Vikram refused to listen. Deepika, too, decided not to give him a divorce for the sake of her children. Vikram, frustrated by Deepika's refusal, started harassing her, both mentally and physically. He believed that she would eventually give in and agree to the divorce. However, Deepika endured everything for her children's future. Eventually, Deepika informed Vikram's parents about his behavior. This time, they reprimanded their son harshly. They warned him to stay away from Shefali and prioritize his family. Vikram pretended to agree, and his parents left. But in reality, Vikram continued to stay in touch with Shefali, exchanging emails and messages. During one such exchange, Shefali sent Vikram some inappropriate photos and informed him that she was pregnant with his child. She insisted they needed to get married before the baby was born since she had already left her husband. Vikram and Shefali began plotting to remove Deepika from their lives. Shefali came up with a plan inspired by their trip to Ladakh. She suggested that Vikram take Deepika on a trip to a hilly area and push her off a cliff, making it look like an accident. Vikram liked the idea and convinced Deepika to go on a trip, claiming it might help mend their strained relationship. Despite her anger, Deepika reluctantly agreed. On October 24th, Vikram took Deepika and their children to Nainital. While Deepika went to the washroom to freshen up, Vikram was busy updating Shefali about their location via chat. Deepika returned and asked Vikram to get ready, sending him to the washroom. In his hurry, Vikram forgot to delete his chats with Shefali. While waiting, Deepika noticed a notification on Vikram's phone. It was a message from Shefali that read, "All the best." Curious, Deepika checked the chat history and discovered their plan. She realized Vikram intended to harm her. Pretending to be unaware, she decided to act cautiously. When Vikram suggested they go sightseeing, Deepika feigned illness and stayed back at the hotel. Later, on October 26th, Vikram updated Shefali about their failed plan. Angered, Shefali called Vikram a loser and insisted he stay in Nainital until the job was done. However, Deepika, sensing danger, convinced Vikram to return to Gurgaon the same day. Back home, the situation remained tense. Despite the ongoing turmoil, Deepika observed Karvachauth on October 27th for Vikram's well-being. However, Vikram returned home late, having spent the day with Shefali. A heated argument ensued, and Vikram's parents, who were visiting, tried to intervene before leaving. Later that night, Vikram contacted his brother, Amit. Together, they planned to execute their sinister plot. Around 9:30 p.m., after their parents left, Amit arrived at the house. Vikram attacked Deepika, dragging her to the balcony to push her off. A struggle ensued, and Deepika held onto Vikram's wrist tightly, pleading for her life and expressing her love for her children. During the scuffle, Deepika scratched Vikram's wrist before falling to her death. To make it look like an accident, Vikram broke a few flower pots on the balcony, creating the illusion that Deepika had slipped while climbing. Unfortunately for Vikram, neighbors from the opposite building witnessed the incident and informed the authorities. By October 29th, Vikram confessed to his crime. On November 13th, the police arrested Shefali as well. However, Amit managed to escape. Shefali, who was 7 months pregnant, was granted bail and later gave birth to a daughter on January 29, 2019. Interestingly, the birth certificate listed her ex-husband, Kunal Tiwari, as the father. The case remains ongoing in court. This tragic story raises several questions. Why should monsters like these have the right to live freely while the innocent suffer? Share your thoughts in the comments. Stay safe and take care of your loved ones. Thank you for watching.